defensive coordinator Jim Leonard, offensive coordinator Pete Carmichael, and special teams coordinator Jeff Rogers all spoke with media earlier this morning. If you missed any of that, you can listen back on the Odyssey app or on our website, WGR550.com. Also on the website and the app, Bills President of Football Operations and General Manager Brandon Beane. He joined Jeremy and Joe earlier today, and we'll get the latest on what was said by the Bills today when Sal Capaccio joins the show later this afternoon at 5. Good news for the Seahawks. Head coach Mike Macdonald confirmed it with the media today that while safety Nick Emenwari did suffer a low ankle sprain yesterday, it should not limit him from playing on Sunday against New England. And while we do have that one more game left this season, we've got scheduled news for next year. The 49ers, they're going to face off against the LA Rams in Melbourne for the first ever game in Australia. The time and week in which that game is played is going to be announced at another date. To the Sabres, game night tonight. They are home against Pittsburgh. Pregame at 6, puck drop at 7. Alex Line expected to get the start in net. With a win tonight, the Sabres would move into second place in the Atlantic. And then following tonight, the league is going to be off until the 25th due to the Olympics. And speaking of the Olympics in Italy, the women's side of hockey things got underway today. The U.S. took down Czechia 5-1. And then some other news. The game between Canada and Finland has been postponed to the 12th due to a case of norovirus within Team Finland. Back to the NHL, 6 other games tonight. Some notable matchups to keep an eye on include 2 games also at 7. Carolina at the Rangers, and the Flyers, they host Ottawa. At 7:30, the Lightning host the Panthers. And then at 10, the Kings, they're in Las Vegas versus the Golden Knights. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
I don't think that's a very good attitude.
It's Mike Schopp.
You don't think? You don't think? I don't think you should be butting in when I'm talking to my team. You're my assistant, okay? You're supposed to back me up and go get me juice boxes when I tell you. Now go get me a juice box. You know who you're talking to?
It's the Bulldog.
I'm talking to the juice box guy. You're crazy. I'm not crazy. I'm just thirsty. Why don't you go to hell? No, you go to hell. While you're there, why don't you grab me a juice box? I'm no juice box boy, I'll tell you that. Yes, you are. No, I'm not. Yes, you
It's
are.
Mike
No,
Schopp
yes, you
and the
are.
Bulldog on WGR Sports Radio 550.
Yes, Bulldog in the home attic today. How are things up there? Windows open? Is there a waft?
Is there a what?
A waft?
Oh,
Too early?
too early. It is. I've done post game from up here for a couple of seasons now, so it's not like I haven't been up here working at all. But very rarely have I been home on a weekday at 3:00. And I don't know. Do you want a Window Nation endorsement right off the hop? There's so much more light in this room at this time of day with these windows up here. It's great up here, Mike.
Nice.
I've got sunlight right now in North Buffalo. It's beautiful.
You know, if I can, it's not my soapbox, but it's a soapbox. As miserable as our weather can be, and I'm not sure we're there yet. It's supposed to be a high of 7 on Saturday, I think. But when the clouds break even a little bit, like the moon was out last night.
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah.
And I have a house where there's windows all around, so when it's any kind of sunny, it's like summer in there. And I love that. And I think I would just naturally latch on to something else if I lived in a different climate. But when it starts, I love March, and nobody loves March. But there are a handful of days, if there aren't, then it's really depressing. If there are a lot of them, then Mario Williams signs with your team.
Right, you get that coming attraction.
Just,
Right, yeah.
I said yesterday, the next time the Sabres are home after tonight, it'll be daylight when you walk in.
Yep.
I think that's right. Is that like March 1st, maybe, whatever the day is? Vegas is the next home game after this one, I think. But, I like a person who can be optimistic about the weather when it turns to February and you take the little wins that you can get. So good for you.
Yeah, no, I've said many times the thing I miss the most. I miss a lot of things about running. It just was such a great mental and physical benefit for my health on both fronts. But a day like you're describing, like 7 a.m., no clouds, sun, but freezing cold, were like my favorite days to go run in the park. I mean, I loved it. It was like such solitude, such quiet, the sound of the snow, just under your feet, just really, really, really a lot aesthetically that I miss about being able to do that. But
someone is listening in Kiribati right now going, listen to these two losers rationalize it's 8 out. I mean, listen to them. How embarrassing. Well, you're home because you have tickets tonight, right?
Yes.
That's part of it?
I'm going to the game tonight, and it just was easier for me. I found a way that I wouldn't have to drive. Jeremy's going, and he lives a mile from me, and so he's going to swing by when we're done, or when I'm done. You're gracious enough to let me leave a little early, and
yes,
I am going to hitch a ride downtown. I don't have to worry about really anything. I'm just going to get done and put on a coat and go to the game. So I just thought that I conveniently arranged so that I wouldn't have to slug it out on the mean slush-filled streets.
And this is your first game this year?
Yes, it is.
Is this maybe the latest first game for you in forever?
For sure. Yeah, because I think even in years like the last 5 years, say, where it's just been a lot of despair, there's tickets around, and John Gale will want to go, or Owen would like to go, whatever. It's just it's easy enough to find your way in, and I would usually do that. And for some reason this year, it just never lined up that I could make that happen. I mean, I had opportunities, it just never happened. And this invite came a couple of weeks ago, and I said, yeah, all right, absolutely, I'm in. So I've even had. I mean, my Owen's got a press pass this year. He goes and is watching and covering home games, and I think he'll be doing that again tonight. And I've thought a few times about just going and doing that with him, sitting in the press box, as I haven't been up there in a long time. But I have not followed through on that. So, yes, tonight will be my first time in the building.
Minus 120. It's big. It's big.
Second place.
I mean, second place, but I'm still racing against what's behind me mostly. I think when I watched last night, watching the league and looking at the standings, I see Columbus, I see the Islanders, I see Boston, right? I mean, even maybe Florida, but I'm still trying to just get in my mind. Maybe did I sound different earlier in the week? I don't know. Last night worked on me a little bit, and now it's Pittsburgh, and I don't want to end on a loss going into the break. Mm-hmm. So. Just I'm looking over my shoulder, I guess. I'm saying.
Yeah, well, last night was tricky in that way because, on one hand, like that game started, I think Boston jumped out to a 2-0 lead. I was watching, but I missed the very beginning. But I think they got out to a 2-0 lead.
Maybe 2-1.
Okay, and then I lost it for a bit. I started watching. Who the heck was Montreal playing? I started watching that.
Jets.
And they just I turned that on 1-1. Like, okay, I'm gonna watch this. I think I got to an intermission in the Boston game. So I'm going to watch. I settled in, and then it was 3-1 like 5 minutes after I turned it on. Montreal scored 2 quick goals to take a 2-goal lead. And so I went back to the Boston game, and by the time I got back into it, Florida was ahead. And Owen and I had been talking about it. Like, what do we want here? You can further bury Florida, but I'm sort of racing right now with Boston for one of these top 2 or 3 spots in the division. They're tied with Buffalo and Montreal, I think, right now, right? 70 points. I don't have the standings open in front of me, but I think that's where we stand.
You don't?
No, I don't. I would if I were there, but I don't. I didn't.
Montreal 72.
Okay.
Detroit 72. Buffalo 70. Boston 69.
Okay.
Pittsburgh 68. Islanders 67. Columbus 65. Anyway.
Okay, so a Boston win would have tied them with Buffalo. The way the Buffalo get into second is they've played fewer games than Detroit and Montreal, so they'll leapfrog both of them if they win tonight. I think is what we've got.
They have one fewer game than Montreal. They would be tied with them, and I think maybe have them on wins.
Yeah. Okay. So Do I want to bury a team that you should maybe be worried about getting healthier if they ever get Barkov back, etc.? Or do I want to try to hold one of these teams that I'm duking it out with for these top spots in the division at bay? And, you can make a case for either one, like you're saying, like looking behind you further down. I don't want to take for granted that the Sabres aren't going to lose 3 or 4 in a row at some point, and maybe that'll be really damaging because everybody, multiple teams are winning every night in that cluster. It just seems like that's par for the course at this point. So you got to kind of keep pace, and the Sabres have been furiously hot, but they have not separated from that cluster, in the middle of that division. So it's hard to sort of pick and choose, but mostly you just don't want overtime, which is what you got last night. Ultimately a shootout with Florida and Boston, and that was too bad. And then now tonight is another one. Do you want to just Tampa and Florida play? Do you want to just let Tampa go? Do you think you can track them down for the first spot in the division? I mean, that might be lofty.
Yes, it is lofty.
And, so I think maybe you'd rather get them, let them win in regulation and keep Florida at bay.
I think the Sabres just had their best look at Tampa 2 nights ago. Not that they can't beat them in a game. I mean, hockey teams lose games, but
Tampa was down some serious.
They're down guys. They're down a goal with a minute left.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of really could have won. I don't think we're winning Jack Adams unless the Sabres win a couple games against Tampa and make up some of that ground. I mean, ever since Wyshynski was on, I was like, John Cooper's never won. And everything, I always got that article about the awards markets. Oh, he's never won.
Yeah,
it's going to be
a
lifetime award. And, if they win the division again, so be it. But, it's probably right that a coach of a team that wins a lot should be considered at least, if not win the Coach of the Year award, and not just the team whose coaches had the best save percentage and shooting percentage, like we talked about with him. I don't know. I've got 2 things. I've got 15 years of scar tissue and relative indifference, and I've got 26 games left. I can't not look behind me. You talk about running. I think when you're running, competitively, you're looking ahead. You don't look over your shoulder. You just look at the person in front of you and try to run them down. If you're actually literally running competitively, that's what you do. Mm-hmm. But I can't help it. I've got too many years of not. The point of this year was to get in. And maybe they're good enough where they can top that. But the point of this year was to get in and end it. They changed out the general manager who probably never should have been hired in the first place. And they're right here. And now we're going to have almost 3 weeks of, to whatever extent we want to discuss it, what about this team? What about this team? How many teams really will be dead after tonight? 1? If we were the Devils, maybe we would know it because we'd have 14 years of a drought. But, a lot of these teams, maybe, we wouldn't say this about Florida, but we'd say it about Ottawa. The bottom 4 in the East, we might just not think about at all, if not many more teams, if not more teams than that. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Would you not say this? Give me a first round against anybody. If it's Tampa, okay. If it's Carolina, okay. Whoever else it is, it's not as good. Just give me a series. Give me life. Give me a chance. And then I think we're back. Then I think it's onward. It's, whatever changes with the roster. But they're so young in so many important areas. I feel like next year we're going to be optimistic. I think that would erase the history or just put it behind us. And if they don't make it, especially from this position, then it'll just be the same, only worse. Where there's a lot there. I obviously the scar tissue point. I mean, I totally get it. I feel like, of course, like you just alluded to, from where they are right now to miss would be just a colossal collapse, I think. It could happen. It probably has happened that a team that – are they in the 90% to make it? No, I mean, maybe at best. It would not be a collapse historically or mathematically. It would be an emotional one.
Yeah.
For anybody that's bought back in, I would say.
Yeah. Well, I have bought back in to how good they are that this is scary to say. I'm assuming they're going to make it, which is why I'm looking ahead and not behind me. I just don't see a team that's played as well as they have played for as long as they have played here, getting 3 weeks off and coming back and just it all goes away. It is hockey. The margins are slim, and a lot of games like Tuesdays in Tampa could not go your way, and there's your losing streak, right? And it can go poof pretty quickly. I'm maybe unreasonably confident in this team right now. I think they have been one of the best teams in the league for more than a month. And I want to trust that despite the scar tissue. So I'm thinking about second place and home ice advantage and hopefully avoiding Tampa or Carolina in a wild card spot and dealing with, Montreal, Detroit, or Boston or whomever ends up there with us. I don't think that that's unreasonable right now from the spot that they're in. And, thinking about them falling out doesn't really allow for anyone else to get cold either. I've made the point here about just this division, how hot everybody, the top five in this division have been running so hot. That is not going to continue. Now, the Sabres could be the one team that falls out. I recognize that. But I just think there's enough here and enough other teams that won't just keep winning 3 out of every 4 or 8 out of every 10 like most of the division has been doing for almost the entire time the Sabres been on this streak.
It almost literally cannot happen. I mean, there had to be some strange scheduling where these teams did not play each other. The Sabres did play Montreal 3 times in like 2 weeks.
Right.
But, I mean, they haven't played anybody else on that list until the last game. And they haven't seen Tampa at all. So I guess it was possible.
Boston in there for a home game after the 10-game streak ended.
Okay.
They did see them once, but
okay.
They haven't seen Detroit in a while. You mentioned Tampa just now, finally, for the first time all year. I mean, February, whatever the date was on Tuesday, that's pretty late to play a division rival.
For the first time.
Yeah.
I think we'll see what happens. I think the Lightning might be the only team right now where I would say the Sabres are really in tough. I mean, even Carolina, I kind of love that. I'd love to there's a lot of emotion in this. It's a little bit of found money if they make it. And it won't feel like that, when we stand up for the anthems in game 1 or game 3, whatever the case may be. It won't feel like found money, but it really kind of is. I mean, when think about, I don't have to tell you this, when they made the Adams move, it was like such a relief. Such maybe a wake-up call to everybody, to them, to the league. It was never going to be the playoffs. Like that, it was whether you needed to trade Alex Tuck. It was whether, what else, whether you waive a goalie. Like it was never, whether Lindy makes it. It was never going to be Lindy was supposed to go too, wasn't he? Like it was.
Or upstairs or something. Yeah.
There was the same rumor at the same time that people were telling us that Adams was going to go, that maybe Lindy was going too. Like was it really an effort to save the season, or was it just to save your self-respect and your credibility, whatever was left as a franchise? And then you had a 20-game, 20 out of 24 or whatever it was, and now you're here. I think I would just melt if I were lucky enough, like 2006, to be in there, no matter who they play. Mm-hmm. If it's Sidney Crosby's Penguins somehow, if it's Montreal or Boston or Detroit would be so interesting because they've never had the playoffs with Detroit. That's...
And they're also riding a 10-season streak of not making it.
Okay, like... That's never been a thing, the Sabres and the Red Wings in the playoffs, but they're just down the road. Like they're closer, they're way closer to us than Boston or Montreal are. Mm-hmm. So there could be sort of road trips. If it's Tampa and we're sort of still in the world where they rule the East, and then it would be like a big upset. Still, like I'm back in it. Mm-hmm. The drought is over. Anybody else, whoever it might be, I mean, just
Right.
bring it on.
Well, I will. I certainly. I don't think this will surprise you, and hopefully not a lot of our audience. I mean, I'll be happy to make my peace with whatever happens. You know, if they fall even to the second wild card spot and have to play Tampa or Carolina or however that'll shake out, I guess it would be whichever one has the better record would be who they would see. In that case, you know. Everything you just said about in the building or watching the build up to it, it's going to be cathartic and fantastic. But for now, until I'm not that worried about missing out on that by hoping for bigger is all. I mean, they're to me, we've seen them on the ice. We haven't seen them for a while with Detroit. And I have mentioned, I haven't really sat. Detroit played at 9 last night. I saw the tail end of the first period. They were already down 2-0, and I just didn't stay with it.
Utah.
But we've seen them 3 times in the last 2 weeks, like you just alluded to with Montreal. And that's a team you're fighting with, and those teams to me are basically equals. They might have the same questions too. They've got a lot of youth that they're maybe counting on, maybe even more so than Buffalo. It's been more productive. Demidov and Hudson are already 2 of the best players on their team, whereas Osland and Helenu say are more still role players waiting to see if they can be trusted. But goaltending's a question to some degree. They've played 3 guys through the year. They really haven't settled on who's the guy. If the playoffs started tomorrow, I don't know what they'd do, and I'm not sure what Buffalo would do if everybody were healthy. Luukkonen right now is not, so I would assume it would be Lyon. But you get the point. Like they're not, to me, like outclassed by any of these teams around them. So go do it. You're right there with them right now. You can pass 2 of them tonight with a win of any kind.
I just don't know what bigger, as you put it, is really worth. Like I'm still. This is the scar tissue point a little bit. We get to the NHL playoffs. To whatever extent I'm invested in it intellectually or emotionally, I almost, with the rare exception, I really don't care about like who had more points or who has home ice, which is, I guess, the same thing, because it's more just like it's super random. And I also don't care about like who's hot. I just kind of want to look at odds and, whatever else there is. And I think the Sabres would have to fit into that same boat.
Yeah.
And I don't know. This is not to push back on any point against who to root for, because rooting is just for you. Like, it's not meaningful.
Yeah.
But like, I just think, well, the only thing that really matters is getting in for me, and we're not there yet.
Right.
And
well, the point of trying to trying to chase the bigger prize is avoiding Tampa or Carolina. And
okay.
I think those 2 teams are teams I would not comfortably say. I mean, I know Buffalo played a great game the last time they were in Carolina and got goalied to death. And, they were right there with Tampa again. But Tampa was pretty banged up on Tuesday, missing, 3 of their centers. I think those 2 teams are – I would not say about them what I just said about Detroit, Montreal, Boston.
Okay, that's a cut above.
And then anybody else behind them. Like, if I can avoid them, that's a worthy cause, I think, because I have a better chance of maybe somebody upsetting them. Who knows? And I've got a more compatible opponent in round 1.
And I think there's just too much time left where these things can change. Just like Buffalo wasn't going to go another 20-4, Tampa is not going to go another 20-2. They're good, but I think I bet in 6 weeks it's going to look different. Maybe not. Maybe it'll just sort of be the same sort of tier group. But it probably will look different. I just hope we're still in the conversation.
I was thinking about this, and I never looked today, and I could do it during the break, but if you happen to have like this any kind of schedule up, when does the season end? Like, how many days have we got left? You mentioned
June 8th.
20. What did you say?
June 8th is the last regular season game this year because of the Olympics. It's super late.
Okay, I know that's not right. 26 games. In my head yesterday, I was thinking it might be like in 50 days.
Yeah, maybe. It's April 15th.
Okay, that's what I was thinking, like mid-April at the latest. And I think that's about that. Like that's a game every other day for what are we talking about? Like, a month and a half.
Right.
That is hardcore.
Good thing they're young. Good thing the Sabres are young.
Yes.
That should help them.
Right.
I don't think Tampa is. Anyway, Marty Biron today. We'll talk about some of this with Marty starting at 4 and the Olympic tournament coming up. The women are underway. The Americans beat the Czechs today 5-1. Skamura, 2 goals.
All right.
I watched a lot of that game.
Go get them.
So we'll talk about hockey with Marty. And usually he asks a fantasy football question. So just brace yourself over there in the attic. Joe Ostrowski next. Super Bowl betting. After the break, Sal Capaccio was out for the new Bills coordinators meeting with the media today. We'll talk to Sal in here as well. It'll be busy and fun. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, thanks for listening. This is WGR.
And he's got a low ankle sprain. Going to do the walkthrough today. We're not sure how extensive, if at all, he's going to practice, but he's confident, got a great plan, fully expect him to play.
Ugh. The only thing I was really, feeling great about, and this is, I guess, is tied to the, relatively remote possibility that Nick Emenwari could actually win Super Bowl MVP, was at least you get 2 weeks out of it. We got a week and a half. We got a week and 2 days, and then he's hurt at practice. Could anybody else have been hurt at practice? No? Okay. Well, his coach there, Mike McDonald, is saying we think he's going to be okay. The part that bothered me in the report last night was that the players were consoling him.
Yes, right. Same.
You tweak something, you get off the field, you're done. That's not a big story necessarily, but the players, that's what happened to Hairston in training camp.
Right.
Hairston had something, and then the guys were going up to him and, wishing him well. Oh, no. Come on. Really? Did that have to happen? With us now on the Wester Hotline, a man you've known for many years and loved, Chicken Dinner co-host, Robbie Ray, to win the AL Cy Young back when the Blue Jays literally played their games in Buffalo better. USA China Winter Olympics betting enthusiast. That's at least how far back we go.
Yes, that's right.
Because we are back at the Winter Olympics, Joe.
Damn, that is right, Joe. I was sitting right here. I'm home today, and yes, I was sitting right here when I first dropped my John Gale intel on you about China's Olympic hockey team.
Wow.
Do we have anything this year?
I haven't.
No.
Okay.
I don't know.
The USA women might be unbeatable.
I think China men, they had a team because they were hosting.
Yes. Oh, yes, and they just like a ragtag team they threw together. Right.
Yeah, that's how my friend's son was even considered because he was living there anyway. Yeah. So I don't think they're in the field.
I don't think I would be shy betting on the USA women against anybody. They crushed Canada, Joe, in the prelim stuff mostly. There was one game in Buffalo where they were just 6-1 or something like that. That's new for their rivalry. They won today 5-1, badly outshot the Czechs. The Czechs were live in the second, but really it was domination. And I don't know, we don't like betting minus money, right? But USA to win gold in the women's?
That's not always the case. If you feel like it's, you don't want to say the L word, but if you feel it's pretty close to a lock, yeah. And you know what? What's funny is kind of leading into the Super Bowl, there's going to be a lot of people that bet minus money, massive minus money favorites tomorrow, because tomorrow afternoon, probably when you guys are talking to Sam, is when a lot of the information is going to get out with some of the novelty stuff, whether it be the pregame, halftime. Apparently, they've been trying to be really quiet because everything was out last year, and that's been the trend over the last number of years. But on Friday, you're going to have the anthem rehearsal, and everybody will have it down to a second. Same thing with the halftime show and all that. So those numbers are going to move quickly, and people won't care because those that have been betting this on a yearly basis are like, oh, it's minus 500. I don't care. I know that's a winner, because that's why it went from, plus 200 to minus 500 in the last half hour.
Yes, we will brace ourselves for that. What's your single favorite prop bet for the game?
I have found myself most years for the fun stuff, it is the anthem most years. But we can talk about it. There's been no information leaked at this point, so I'm holding off on that. I would say that I think the best matchup in this game is on a team that I don't really think is going to win. But what I got to quickest, just based on what we've seen throughout the season, it's hard to get anything on these defenses, especially on that Seattle side. But I look at that matchup of the Patriots tight ends going against the Seahawks, and that's how you can exploit that defense. I think it's been half the starting tight ends they face this year have gone for at least 50-plus yards. You've seen a few go for over 100. Kyle Pitts had 90 against them, and Henry hasn't really done anything in the playoffs. So I'm looking at it as a buy opportunity with his number coming down, and now it's starting to creep up later on this week here. But it's in the upper 30s for Hunter Henry, 39.5, better than 2-1 for an anytime touchdown. And even their backup, who's typically out there between 20 and 30 snaps, Austin Hooper, 1 catch. The number's 9.5. So I do like the Patriots tight ends in this one.
Henry hasn't done much. No one has done much in the playoffs offensively. We talked to our buddy Mike Giardi, who's covered the Patriots for a long time, yesterday with Boston Sports Journal, Joe, and he said in his mind they've had 4 good drives the whole playoffs.
Yeah, and last week, what do you do with the second half? Do you just completely throw it out, or do you say, well, that was another half where the offense did absolutely nothing? And, they haven't really had to do that much. Like the way Vrabel was coaching that game, it felt like he was all in. Look, Denver's not scoring on us. So let's just not blow it with a dumb turnover or something like that. And it didn't seem like they were dialing much up. Now, they have faced 3 really good defenses. They're going to face another phenomenal defense coming up on Sunday. But, yeah, that's totally accurate. Like, look at Drake May's numbers, regular season versus the playoffs, not even close to the same player. And now that obviously the concern, how much is this shoulder bothering him?
Is May over 37.5 yards rushing a sucker bet? Isn't that like kind of what we saw? I don't know if I want to throw out the game in Denver entirely, but that's what they did when they had to have it, was May on his own even. 37.5. I kind of think it's Seattle's game. And if it is, I think he has a better chance of getting there on sort of desperation scrambles, and he's an athlete. Does that feel like a sucker bet, though?
I think the guy you talk to tomorrow would say yes. I'm not there. I'm not going to have a bet on that. I just consuming a lot of the betting content, various props, people I trust. That's very interesting. I'm not going to have a bet on it, Mike, but there are a lot of respected people that are on under. There are a lot of respected people I know that are on over on that one. I've heard the case where, okay, they spy with a linebacker the entire time, and you look at the history, there haven't been that many quarterbacks that have racked up a ton of rushing yards. But there's also probably, you're right, when they send pressure, there's probably going to be lanes and opportunities. And in the gotta have a time, we saw May take off, and it could be 1 or 2. The rush attempts is sitting at 6.5. I don't think he has to get there to go over, because we see these long runs. I know you guys talk to Evan Silver from time to time. The way he's doing it is he's just going to bet May longest rush over instead of getting in on that number. The number's ballooned. Like, the public is in on the over with that. It has gone from 29.5 up to upper 30s, almost 40. Wouldn't surprise me on Sunday if we're in the 40s on that.
All right, I'm gonna pass. Hearing that,
yeah. Joe, Mike already mentioned at the top here our Emin Worry interest with Sam for MVP. Is there an idea out there that you really like?
For MVP overall?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you guys on Emin Worry. It's a little bit of a scare. I guess he's going to be okay with that ankle, but have some big numbers, and they're all on the Seattle side for me. The one I think that has the best shot is JSN at 18-1 I got a few weeks ago. That is now 5-1. Most of these defensive players, these long shots that I grabbed, I wouldn't bet now because obviously they're here and the number is so much shorter.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say the same about JSN, though. That's a guy that, okay, I could see it. And, maybe he's announced the Offensive Player of the Year, really coming onto the scene this year. And Seattle wins. Let's say Darnold has a pick or two, certainly very possible. I think a lot of voters are going to turn to JSN. And at 5-1, being in the Super Bowl, and he's probably going to get his like he has all year.
Yeah.
That's the only one that I would say, you know what, I don't think that's the worst bet in the world. I'm not betting because I already have the bigger ticket, but that's one that I don't disagree with.
You know what's kind of cool, Joe? I'll be rooting for you on that, other than, rooting for ourselves. But you're a part of Evan Worry is probably a bigger win for you if he gets it over JSN. But I was thinking I talked to Matthew Collar today on his Purple Insider podcast. We do a weekly thing. And I'm looking now at the history. 8 wide receivers have won Super Bowl MVP. There's not a single high-scoring game. When Edelman won, it was 13-3. Jerry Rice won Super Bowl 23 against the Bengals, and that was John Taylor. He didn't have to score the touchdown. It was like 20-16 maybe was the final score of that game. I mean, 3-3 for a lot of it. He went for 200 yards. I think you need the receiver to pop, yards, catches, or both, and not for the quarterback to go off. I think some of these other games where the quarterback won, probably there were big receiver games, but, I mean, all of them. Biletnikoff, who didn't score a touchdown either, too long ago maybe to be relevant. I feel like a low-scoring game is better for the wide receiver's chances of winning.
100%, and that's where I'm at in the game. I do like the under. I'm hoping it gets up to 46, but I'm not expecting a shootout. If Darnold, with the story and everything, if Darnold throws for 3 touchdowns, it's over. It's him.
It's his.
There's just no way to get around it. Even if he throws an interception, 3 touchdown passes, they'll be rushing to get those votes in to give it to him. But I am expecting a lower scoring game. I don't know about as low as some of the games that you were just referencing, but both of these teams, bottom 4 as far as pace. They run the ball a lot, both of them. The run rate is top 5 in the league. Seattle number 2, New England number 5. And I don't think they're going to want May rushing things, kind of taking their time. McDaniel's been through this before. Typically, you do have slow starts in the Super Bowl. So, yes, I would definitely need that. I think for a defensive player, you probably also need a lower scoring game. It could be almost anybody on that Seattle side.
Or a blowout.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Or a blowout.
Yeah, or a blowout where, that the Evan Worry thinking is, a strip sack or something and a pick, and it's a blowout and, maybe he gets some attention. But
We've seen blowouts where, a defensive player, was it Bucks Raiders?
Yep.
When there's a DB.
Dexter Jackson.
Interceptions. Yes, Dexter Jackson was one. That's usually what it is. I don't know who to go. How about this guy? Had a couple of turnovers.
Right. Malcolm Smith for Seattle. The kind of game where the voters have to pick somebody, and they don't know. Like the Tampa example, the Seattle example, there could have been a couple of different defensive players in each of those games, but you just have to pick one of them. That's how we back into this thing, assuming Evan plays, if it happens. Joe, tonight is awards night. We've talked about some of these all through the year. What's best for you? What's the most interesting to find out about tonight?
Oh, I can't wait. They dragged this thing out, 3 hours? There's going to be a red carpet show, all of it. Just get me to the offensive player of the year, please. That's all I care about. Went in on JSN before the year at 50-1. So holding on to that ticket. My biggest potential winner in the OPOY, I think he'll get votes, but I don't think he's going to win, would be Christian McCaffrey. Very late in the season, he was 40-1, guys, and I grabbed a little bit of him. But I think I'm okay with JSN. I've got other guys that are finalists, but realistically, I don't think any of them are going to win. I dart at 25-1 for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Henderson at a big number. I don't expect him to win. I think Ted McMillan took over in the end of the season. And, something else, I feel like maybe they were flipped or it was up in the air, and I'm guessing this is the way it's going, is MVP. I think for a week or two near the end, it was Mays, and then it flipped at the very end to go Stafford's way. That's how I expect the voting to go. Same thing with McMillan, I just mentioned. Comeback player, not sure. Everybody believes it's going to be Vrabel, even though all of the finalists you can make a very strong case for.
Yeah. Sabres -120 tonight, home to the Pittsburgh Penguins, by the way. Last game before the Olympic break. Well, Joe, good luck. I mean, Super Bowl weekend, here we go, and the awards tonight. Always great to talk to you. If you want one more time next week to wrap it, or else, if not, we'll talk again down the road.
I'll have to take a rain check on that. Tuesday, leaving these frigid temps off to Mexico.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah, with the family. So looking forward to a real vacation. I convinced them, hey, how about we go on a vacation that's not Disney World? Can we do that for the first time?
Is Mexico the Caribbean, Bulldog? We're back to that subject from
These are
earlier this
questions.
week.
Well, Joe, thanks for everything all season. I'm still trying to wrap my head around that it's been 4 years that you've been joining us with this Olympic
At
timeline
least.
that Mike noticed, like at least that, right? Maybe even longer. I just, and I mean this obviously as a compliment. It doesn't feel like it's been that long.
No, not at all. You saying that is it's quite surprising to me. I'm like, oh yeah, it has been 4 years. You know, I'm here anytime, whether Masters, golf majors, whatever, college basketball. We'll be covering it all. So you guys know the number. Just reach out.
The first time I remember talking to Joe asked, he put me on the spot, said, what do you think Stephon Diggs over-under yards is for the year? That had to be the spring of 21 because the COVID year would have happened where he posted a number for the Bills.
Yeah.
It had to be like April or May of 21. So very good. Have a
Here
great
he is in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Have a great weekend and trip, and we'll talk again down the road.
Thanks, fellas.
2 times with down the road, Bulldog. How do you like that? I just went right back to it.
Yeah.
We don't have the script anymore.
It happens that way sometimes. That's right. You're just ad-libbing.
I'm Will Ferrell without the teleprompter, apparently, suddenly. Not great. Marty Biron coming up at 4. Sabres and Penguins downtown, pregame at 6 here on WGR. We talked with Joe Ostrowski about whether he thinks it's a good idea to bet Drake May over under 37.5 rushing yards. And he said he's not afraid of it, but he gave me some reasons not to do it. 38 rushing yards. I mean, this is a little bit the times, but would be 11th most for a quarterback in Super Bowl history. The top 2 rushing outputs for a quarterback in the Super Bowl are the same player.
Huh.
Don't try too hard on this one. The record was set last year.
Oh, so, okay. Is it Jalen Hurts?
Jalen Hurts, 72 rushing yards last year, 70. In a game he's also scored 3 rushing touchdowns in 2 years previous. Mahomes is third in between. So the top 3 quarterback rushing outputs are the last 3 games. And fourth is Steve McNair.
Whoa. All right.
Titans-Rams. That's fourth. Colin Kaepernick is fifth. Those are the only 5.
Right, Steve Young. Where is Steve Young on this list?
Seventh.
Wow. All right.
Against the Chargers. Joe Montana against the Dolphins is 6th. So there's your top 7 now. Your buddy Staubach is 11th.
My buddy. Yep.
In Super Bowl 13.
I shouldn't balk at that. I had a poster.
I can picture it. Is it that poster with the white and the name up top? And there he's probably I had a Burt Jones poster.
Yeah.
It was like, I think, was it
Yes.
Sports Illustrated who made those?
I think. I don't know. I know I saw a lot of the same. It was like a giant football card.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
I saw a lot
Yeah.
of the same style poster with just different team logos on it.
Posters. Wow,
Yep.
has the show ever.
Posters.
Marty Biron after sports here on WGR.
One Bills Drive, defensive coordinator Jim Leonard, offensive coordinator Pete Carmichael, and special teams coordinator Jeff Rogers all spoke with the media this morning. If you missed any of that, you can listen back on the Odyssey app or on our website, WGR550.com. Also at the website and the app, Bills president of football operations and general manager Brandon Beane. He joined Jeremy and Joe earlier this morning, and we'll get the latest on what was said today when Sal Capaccio joins the show later this afternoon at 5 p.m. Good news for the Seahawks. Head coach Mike Macdonald confirmed with the media today that safety Nick Emenwari, while suffering a low ankle sprain yesterday, should not be limited from playing on Sunday against New England. And we do have some schedule news, even with one more game left this season. As we now know it is official, the 49ers are going to be facing off against the LA Rams in Melbourne for the first ever game in Australia. The time and week in which this game will take place is going to be announced at another date. To the Sabres, it is game night tonight. They are hosting Pittsburgh, pregame at 6, a 7 p.m. puck drop. Alex Lyon expected to get the start in net tonight. And with a win, the Sabres would move into second place in the Atlantic. Following tonight, the league is going to be off until the 25th due to the Olympics. And speaking of that, the women's side of things with hockey did get underway in Italy. The U.S. took down Czechia today 5-1. And then also some other news for women's hockey. The game between Canada and Finland has been postponed to the 12th due to a case of norovirus within Team Finland. Back to the NHL, 6 other games tonight, some notable matchups to keep an eye on. 2 games also at 7. Carolina at the Rangers, and the Flyers host Ottawa at 7:30. The Lightning, they host the Florida Panthers, and then at 10, the Kings, they're in Las Vegas to take on the Golden Knights. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
They have this Panther sound effect that is just the cheesiest, stupidest sounding thing. Big voice guy going, Panther goal scored by Sam Reinhart. Where'd you get that thing?
I trapped it. Been keeping it in my bathroom at the motel, feeding it old pizza.
It's Mike Schopp.
If you're calm, that wondrous big cat will be calm too. But if you're scared, that beautiful death machine will do what God made it to do. Namely, eat you with a smile on its face.
And the Bulldog. On WGR Sports Radio 550.
Always a great pleasure to welcome Marty Biron to the show. Marty has his own show, so we try not to overdo it. Marty, we were just talking, Bulldog and I, about just randomly, as it happens with us sometimes, quarterbacks from our youth. And we each had posters. Roger Staubach, Bulldog had Roger Staubach. I had Burt Jones. I've never asked you. I know you love the NFL, like you and I text sometimes about fantasy football. Did you follow the NFL growing up in Quebec?
So this is funny, and thanks for having me on. It's been way too long, and I love listening and, to you guys all the time and, driving to the rink and whatever. But, yeah, so because we took English in, starting in 4th grade, we had an English class, and they would always say, try to watch or listen to about a half an hour worth of English content, like either every other day or whatnot. And on Monday night, before I went to bed, I always turned on Monday Night Football because we would get the Burlington, Vermont ABC station on regular TV. So I would put Monday Night Football on, and I would watch the first half hour. What was the song again? Are you ready
All My
for
Rowdy
some
Friends.
football? And All My Rowdy Friends and all of that. And my quarterback and my team, because they played on Monday Night Football quite often, were the Philadelphia Eagles and Randall Cunningham. Mm-hmm. I went to the mall and I saw a bunch of NFL hats, and I bought a Eagles hat because I thought Randall Cunningham was just fantastic to watch. I didn't know much about, football, and I guess he wasn't that much of a passer, especially back in Philly back in those days. But, man, could he run and could he be spectacular? So I thought he was great.
What a great choice, Chris, really. I mean, Randall Cunningham is such a cool choice. That's somebody with good taste would pick Randall Cunningham as their favorite.
That's because they were on TV. And the Bills were not on Monday Night Football a lot back when, I was kind of getting into it. And then I think like by the mid-90s, like when they went to the Super Bowls and whatever, like I was playing junior hockey and was kind of busy, so I didn't watch them. But, you know, late 80s maybe, like they weren't in there as much.
Yeah, that's right. You just missed it. That's right. Well, the Sabres and Penguins tonight, a rematch of your first NHL game. They'll be talking about it downtown tonight.
I totally forgot. That was my first. Thanks for reminding me.
Sorry. What do you think of all this, Marty? I mean, I know you're talking about it all the time on Sabres Live and on pre- and post-game shows. I'm watching more post-game TV Sabres coverage than ever. I'll admit that. Like, these games have been so much fun and so interesting. What's the right first question? When did you buy in to this maybe being possible?
So I think the game that I bought in was the first game after the Christmas break. So I think it was Boston. But I remember, like, you know, we went actually to Seattle. Duffer and I went out to Seattle because there was a conflict with the Bills game. And so that was game 3 of the 10-game winning streak. And they had beaten, you know, the Oilers in a weird way. Like Colton Ellis gets hurt in the first period. Alex Lyon comes in. They beat Vancouver. Vancouver's terrible. And then they go to Seattle and they win, come back home, play a couple of games. And I'm like, okay, like, everybody keeps saying, oh, this is a bad time for a break. When they come back from the break, they'll tell me if they're for real. And they came back from the break and they kept on winning. And at that point, I was like, okay, they're for real, because it wasn't just a fluke. It wasn't just, oh, we're really feeling it. It's more like, this is who we are. This is the process we go through. This is how we're going to play. And then we went to Nashville. And I'll tell you this, like Tage Thompson in Nashville, like showed me something that I haven't seen out of Tage and maybe out of a lot of guys in a long time. So they're up 4-0. Everything's going well. Now all of a sudden Nashville comes back 4-1, 4-2, 4-3, and it's about 10 minutes left in the third period. And Tage has the puck, and he's about to go one-on-one against the Nashville defenseman, and he's late in the shift. And instead of forcing it and trying to go around the D, like he chipped it in the corner and went for a change. And I'm like, that is something that we've not seen a lot. Like, you know, that's the right play right there, because everybody's changing. If Tage loses an edge, loses the puck, it's counterattack, it's the other way, everybody's scrambling, and then all of a sudden you give up a goal, and it's 4-4, and who knows what happens. He got it in, and then Peyton Krebs later scored an empty netter, and they won in Nashville. And I'm like, you know, that's the maturity developing that I've seen. So I would say the first game after Christmas and that Nashville game, I was very impressed.
Well, I love that attention to detail, Marty. Like, that is such a – when the season began, multiple games. We didn't talk about it a lot because we were still in the midst of the Bills season, and the Sabres were still, frankly, kind of depressing to talk about. So we didn't do a lot of it. But there were lapses, Thompson specifically, defensively, where I'd just be like, there's no way they're picking him for the Olympic team. The game in Philly is one that comes to mind. A game in Philly where it just like, whoa, dude, what are you doing? And I really don't believe it's just because the results are different now. I feel like I haven't seen him annoy me defensively in weeks.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously he feels a lot better at center. And I think for the first month and a half, almost 2 months of the season, it was a battle. Like, I remember asking him, do you feel like you're okay on the wing? And he says, no, I like the middle of the ice way better. And then they were asking Lindy, and Lindy was like, oh, I mean, I like him on the wing, but then Norris was injured, and, you know, so you were kind of lacking that middle depth, and they put him back in the middle. I'm like, okay, we know now. You know, we tried that song and dance with Sam Reinhart back in many years ago, like, is he a center, is he a winger? And although he's still listed as a center on NHL.com, he doesn't even play center in Florida. He's a winger. That's what it is. Like, Tage Thompson's a center. He could be listed as a right winger or whatever. Like, he's a center, and he'll always be a center for me, because that's how different he is now with his approach to the game. Will he make mistakes in the defensive zone? Absolutely. And right now they got him playing with Krebs and Tuck, and I think that Krebs and Tuck really helped defensively. Like, it was not the last Montreal game that they lost, but the one before that, Like, oh, they were in Montreal and they were being absolutely outplayed by Suzuki and Caulfield. And I'm like, that's going to happen. Like, you're playing against the best of lines, and you're going to get outplayed at times. But then Lindy changed the matchups a little bit, went to McLeod and Zucker against Suzuki and Caulfield, and then all of a sudden Tage is, playing like his best hockey again. So I think there's ways around it. But, yeah, the maturity and the attention to details, like, if I was to hear Lindy Ruff say, puck management was an issue, like I was going to throw my monitor out the door. Like, it was – like, he kept repeating it. I'm like, somebody's got to do something about it.
With Marty Biron, you say you've asked Thompson, you've had a conversation with him about what position he prefers. Have you had a conversation ever with Matthias Samuelsson that basically goes, what in the actual hell is happening with you? Like, have you had that conversation with him?
I've not had that conversation with him, but again, like, we had Tage on Sabres Live today, and I'm like, what's happening with Matthias Samuelsson? He goes, you know what? Like, I think it surprises a lot of people, but he has one of the better wrist shot. He's got silky, smooth hands and some good skills for a big guy. He just never really was healthy to show it and confident to show it. And like those 2 goals in Tampa the other night, and I know the Sabres lost in overtime, but when you beat Vasilevsky short side like that, like, there's not a lot of guys that would feel confidence to even take that shot against Vasilevsky. Sammy's like, why not try it? Then he comes in on the rush and he beats him. Now, I was saying that and joking with our crew the other day. I'm like, well, maybe Vasilevsky's allergic to big, tall, stay-at-home defenseman. Remember when Ilya Lyubushkin scored in overtime, right? Yeah. I'm like, Vasilevsky can stop Stamkos and Ovechkin and whatever and Crosby, but he can't stop Lyubushkin and Samuelsson. That's his problem.
Marty, you've been around the game, obviously playing, and now as a broadcaster for all these years. Have you ever seen a player 1 year to the next have as dramatic a turnaround as Samuelsson has had? I can't remember.
It's pretty rare. And look, maybe like think of Jordan Binnington when he joined the St. Louis Blues. I mean, the guy wasn't even in the Blues farm team. He was in Providence. He was on loan to a different AHL team, and they needed him. He gets called up, and he kept on winning and wins the Stanley Cup. Like, you're thinking, where did that come from? But Samuelsson was in the NHL, and Samuelsson was like, they tried him with Dahlin on the top pair, and was it working? Okay, but he was getting hurt, and now, like, even some of the plays, and I know you guys watch the games with the details of the games, but, he comes back in his zone, and the stick is always in the right spot, and the feet are turned the right way, so he doesn't get turned left when everybody's going right. And I'm like, okay, like, this is somebody that I believe put a ton of work. We asked him about they were about to play Jersey, so we asked him about the things about, the Jersey Shore and living in South Jersey, because he lived right outside of Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. And he said, I go back to the Jersey Shore in the summertime, but we skate every day. We do detailed work, and I think he did a ton of it last summer to get ready for this year, and it's showing.
With Marty Biron, Samuelsson, right, son of Shell Samuelsson, who played many years for the Flyers. We talked about that for a minute last night. Marty, I don't know. Like, I've had a complicated relationship with goalies, over the years, just watching the Sabres and thinking kind of Kevin Adams always made sense to me. I'll start there with respect to the goaltending position, which is you really don't know what you're getting necessarily. There are a few guys who are always outstanding and everybody else kind of up and down. Luukkonen is somewhat of an example of that. Is this group of goalies to be trusted? Is there any way to know that? Is there a guy you like the most?
I like Lyon the most, probably. And I think it just comes from, having played for so long and appreciating somebody that is thinking the game, not overthinking the position. Like, it's about stopping the puck. At the end of the day, like, it's about get your body in the shot lane, be squared, be angle, have good depth, and let the puck hit you or reach out for it and make the save. Dominic Hasek was in town last week when they did the Always the Goalie movie and all of that. And Lyon played a game here, and Ashik was like, he never gives out any rebounds. Like, he was impressed by that. I'm like, well, if that's impressive to Dominic Ashik, like, I think we should all be paying attention to that. Like, there's no rebounds to be had. But it's because he's so calm and he's such in the right position. He reads the play well. I'm jealous of the butterfly width that he's got. Like, he looks like he's a little bit of a robot. Like, he doesn't move a ton, but it works. The thing is that, you know, we're all kind of drawn towards the Shesterkin and Vasilevsky and Ottinger and, you know, those guys that are so athletic and can really make the highlight saves. But Lyon has been so steady to me. That's why he's 11-1 in the last, in his last 12 games. He's almost a .930 save percentage in those. Like, league average this year is .896. Like, if you are pulling 930s, like when Dom was doing .935, the league average was .910, .911.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty significant if you're pulling these numbers.
He sold himself short, and this is what we do in the interview. Hasek last week, like he basically sounded like he said everybody's better now than I was or than we were, but this kind of thing is always the player versus the rest of the league. You normalize it, and Hasek, I mean, he led the league in save percentage 6 years in a row. Come on, like Marty Brodeur, these guys that get compared even favorably to him have to calm down because nobody else has come close to that. And even if it was,
and you can only compare yourself to the guys that you're playing.
That's
with.
right.
Like, I mean, like Johnny Bauer and Glenn Hall and Terry Sawchuk, they would say, oh, the Ken Dryden generation and Tony Esposito generation was way better than we were. And then, you know, the generation after that, the Patrick and Marty and Dom and Eddie Belfour and Curtis Joseph are like, well, we are way better than the generation before us in the way that we play. But the game changes, the goalies changes. I mean, I look at, you know, my kid, he's 21, and I'm like, he's way better than I was. But at the same time, he's playing college hockey. That's not because he's playing pro. He's not NHL, whatnot. But the kids are better at everything, right? They develop more. And that's why, like, Hasek was saying that. But Dom still, like, was unique and the best in the world. Like, he is the best to ever play. That's to me, that's not even a debate.
Same.
Yeah, I mean the teaching, Marty. You know, I mean you've coached dozens, if not hundreds, of goalies in town. There's so much technical that goes into it, and that's why I think Hasek would say that the coaching has expanded. I mean, I know he had Mitch Korn, but it's just a very different world now.
But Mitch was teaching a different game back then too. Like, you should see some of the drills that Mitch had us do in training camp. Like, we would do, like, you know, shuffle, butterfly, shuffle, half butterfly. Like, lay on your side, get back up, lay on your back, get back up. It was all that. And Mitch was really good. Like, you look at Dominic Hasek, and then he goes to Nashville, and he has, you know, Mike Dunham and Thomas Vokoun, and then he develops, like, a little bit of Pecorino early, and then, you know, he moves on with other organizations, and that's what he was doing. And now, if you talk to Mitch Korn and even the Allairs, I had Benny and Frankie Allaire, and, you know, it's changed a lot. They don't teach what they did in the 90s and 2000. They don't even teach what they did in 2010. Like 15 years later, it changes a lot.
Who was your favorite goalie growing up?
Mike Lewis. Mike Lewis with the Hartford Whalers, and that's because my dad worked for a construction company, and the construction company had some season tickets to the Nordiques, but he was lower on the totem pole, so everybody took the Canadians, the Boston Bruins, they took the Rangers, the Flyers, and the only tickets left were the Hartford Whalers. So we would go to the Hartford Whalers games. I would go behind the Whalers bench and net and warm up. I would watch Mike Leo, a big, tall, number one defenseman, and he was so good. And so he was my goalie growing up.
Wasn't he Ryan Miller's agent?
Yes, he was. He was Ryan Miller's agent. You're absolutely right. And, I mean, he did Hartford, St. Louis. Mm-hmm. Washington. So, you know, I used to have the sticker books, like not the cards, but you had the stickers and you put them all in there. And I was so excited when I got my Mike Leo sticker.
Very good.
Mike Leo. Was that Loblaws for you in Quebec? Because Loblaws was for us here.
No, I don't remember what it was.
Tops
Yum
had
Yum
stickers.
used to be a chip. Yeah, Tops had stickers, but I don't know if you guys remember Yum Yum, were like a chips brand back in Canada. They used to do a lot with the cards and the NHL and all of that. So I remember having those for a while too.
I'm
Do I
thinking
remember Liud correctly? I feel like there was like a long, the mask was really long and like almost came to a point below his chin.
all white.
All white, and it was a big cage, so you could see his mouth in the cage, like it was wider open, a little bit like Olaf Goldzig had that kind of mask too, where it doesn't just cut underneath the nose, like the mouth is exposed, so there's a bigger like face recognition maybe with that, or he just thought he saw the puck better, and his cage was really weird. Instead of being the curve, like the arc bars, they were very square and angled. So that was Mike Liut.
Nice. I was thinking Tops, by the way, with 2 Ps. The trading card company had sticker books. I was into that.
Grocery store, yeah.
What are you going to do the next 3 weeks?
Oh, I'll be watching a lot of hockey, Olympic hockey. I'm going to do some, Canadian TSN coverage. Obviously, Sabres Live is going to continue to go, so we're going to be talking about Tage Thompson and Rasmus Dahlin and everything else that is happening at the Olympics. But it's going to be a little bit more relaxed, so maybe I'll have a little bit of time to catch up on like the many emails I've not responded. I've got a daughter that's applying to colleges, and I get emails on the daily like, hey, you have to fill this and I have to fill that. And I've completely put it aside. So I'm going to have to sit at the computer and do a lot of replying to emails.
Sounds great.
Dig in.
Thank you very much for today. Enjoy the game tonight.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure. Enjoy the game. Enjoy the break. And, go Sabres. Let's keep it going.
Let's go, Marty. Thanks a lot. Marty Biron with us. We're not getting a break either. We don't get time with 3 weeks off for the Olympics.
Yeah, no.
He's doing Sabres Live. We're doing this. Mostly, I think, right? Like, we're just going to be here. You might even come in.
Shut up. One day in the last how long?
It's funny. I'm not complaining. Today would have been the perfect day for me to stay home because my wife is out of town and my kids are home right now and who knows what they're doing. But, got to trust it. Hopefully they're staying cool. I'm sure they're doing their homework.
Oh, yeah.
Knock that out first thing.
Definitely.
Knock that out. Thanks, Marty. 803-0550 for us, the Super Bowl, the Sabres tonight, and the Bills. We'll talk to Sal at 5 about the new coordinators and what they had to say today. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, this is WGR.
One Bills drive, we heard from all the coordinators, defensive coordinator Jim Leonard, offensive coordinator Pete Carmichael, and special teams coordinator Jeff Rogers. They all spoke with the media this morning, and if you missed any of that, you can listen back on the Odyssey app or at our website, WGR550.com. Also at the website and the app, Bills President of Football Operations and General Manager Brandon Beane. He joined Jeremy and Joe earlier this morning. We'll get the latest on the Bills coming up in about a half hour when Sal Capaccio joins the show at 5. Good news for the Seahawks. Head coach Mike McDonald did confirm today with the media that while safety Nick Emmanwori has suffered a low ankle sprain, it should not limit him from playing on Sunday against New England. Sabres game night tonight. They are home against Pittsburgh. Pregame at 6, puck drop at 7. And Alex Lyon, he is expected to get the start in net. With a win tonight, the Sabres would move into second place in the Atlantic. Then following tonight, though, the league is going to be off until the 25th due to the Olympics. And speaking of the Olympics, the women's side of hockey, they got things underway today. The U.S. took down Czechia 5-1, and then some other news on that front. The game between Canada and Finland has been postponed to the 12th due to cases of norovirus with Team Finland. And then back to the NHL, 6 other games tonight, some notable matchups to keep an eye on. 2 games also at 7, Carolina at the Rangers, and the Flyers host Ottawa. 7:30, the Lightning host the Florida Panthers. And then at 10, the Kings, they are in Las Vegas to take on the Golden Knights. That's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
We're going to be an attacking defense up front, in the back end. We're going to attack the football. You know, that's the biggest stat in football is turnovers. So we're going to be aggressive. We're going to fly around. We're going to communicate. We're going to play well together, right? It is team defense. We're going to cause issues for offense, and we're going to force them to react to us, right? I don't want to counterpunch. You know, we want to be a defense that is constantly evolving and growing throughout a game and throughout a season.
The streak remains unbroken for all time. New defensive coordinator says we are going to attack more. So back up less. Never has a defensive coordinator ever walked in the door at a press conference and talked about we want to be a little bit more placid. The Bills were never, ever once. I mean, it's what I would say. Get after it, baby. That's what we're going to do.
Right.
15th this year, the Bills were in takeaways a year after being third. And last year, they were first in preventing turnovers, fewest turnovers in the NFL. This year, in that category, they were also 15th, right down the middle. That's Jim Leonard. We'll talk to Sal at 5 about him and Pete Carmichael, and I suppose even Jeff Rogers with the special teams in mind later. We'll see what Sal found interesting about it all. 803-0550 for your calls. Sabres and Penguins, pregame at 6. Paul Hamilton then. This will be, does this surprise you? Mike Tirico is calling his first Super Bowl Sunday as a play-by-play announcer, TV.
Right. Not if you think about it a bit. I mean, he's been at and doing big events for a long time now, but have they had a Super Bowl since Al Michaels left NBC?
Guess not.
You're right. That's the explanation.
That's the Rams and the Bengals.
Right.
So 4 games ago, including this one.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, I guess no, but, you know, he's become like, you know, one of those number one guys. So it is, on some level, I guess, a little surprising.
I think maybe it was in 22 when Al had the game for NBC. Tirico probably was their host.
Right.
And then he was going to Beijing, like right from, didn't he do a thing where he was like on both shows almost?
I think so.
He left the Super Bowl and went to the Olympics or vice versa. And he was just constant. He was on at both places right in a row.
Yes. And I think is he not doing that again?
Probably.
I'm pretty sure he's going right from the Super Bowl to Milano.
Did you watch any of the women today?
I did not. I did not check it out.
I had a take for you.
Okay.
So
ready.
I watched most of this game. I had to break from it to do the show with Matthew, but caught the last few seconds after that. The Americans dominated the Czechs. They gave up a breakaway goal in the second period when the woman from Czechia came out of the penalty box and just went in on a breakaway and scored. But they had almost no chances, really, in this game. They had a little bit in the middle, but it was U.S.'s game. Joy Dunn scored for Team USA. It's Josh Dunn's sister from the Sabres, and that was mentioned. Kenny Albert never misses, and he mentioned that. She scored a goal, and I think it would be one of the most aesthetically pleasing goals you could score. I'm not sure it's always this way, but Bulldog, in this game at least, there's a little bed at the back of the net. You know what I mean? Like a little skinny bed, like a platform that's probably not styrofoam, but some sort of thing. Whatever it's meant for, is it meant to catch pucks so they don't bounce out really fast? Or maybe, I don't know what they're meant for. But there's like a small, like a thin bed that stretches from each end of the back of the net.
Huh.
I've lost you.
Yeah.
A white, bed. I'm not sure there's a better way I could think to describe it. A soft.
Okay, no, the white plastic that's around the inside of the net, I think is what you're describing.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I can't tell you for sure, like, if this is
when you said bed,
everywhere.
I'm imagining like a
covers.
Yeah, like a bed. Like, I mean, is this some sort of a prop for an advertisement behind the glass, right behind the net? You mean, or what are you talking about?
Inside the net.
I got you. Yeah, like the kind of thing that the puck sometimes, depending on how it goes in the net, sometimes can get inside it and you don't see it.
Yeah, all right.
Like when you play, when you play pickup, and like you have like a bucket of pucks that gets dumped on the ice for warm up, and then you got to go collect them because you're going to play, choosing up sides. You're going to play a game now. Sometimes there's pucks stuck in that mesh, is what I would call it.
Okay, this to me looked like it was thicker and bigger than I'm used to seeing, but maybe not. Anyway, Joy Dunn scored a goal. She flipped it over the goalie's arm or leg maybe, and it landed on that bed and it stayed there. And that, I think, would be a pretty cool way to score a goal, where the puck just sort of sits on that bed, and that's where it comes to rest. You have to make the shot pretty much like in the middle of the net for that to be possible, I think. And it just sort of bounced down. There's also a tiny little bed, dare I use the same term, platform above that, like halfway up where there's a camera.
Right.
And probably drilling one off that camera would feel pretty good.
Yeah, that's always a plus.
Great when you can score off the pipe. That's a great aesthetic,
Oh,
just
the sound is
the sound slap shot that goes in.
I think the off any bar and in, but I prefer the crossbar, I guess, bar down, right? Just that sound in a building, especially if you're playing a road game, I just love that sound.
Iserman against St. Louis.
Yeah.
Maybe the all-time best goal like that.
Yeah.
Well, look for this Joy Dunn goal for 2-0 today and set me straight. Like what's obvious that I'm missing, or what's a better way to describe what I'm talking about? But
I did see the goal on my feed. I mean, I rolled past it and it pointed out, like in the tweet that I saw, mentioned her brother plays for the Sabres. But I didn't pay attention to where the puck settled. So I'll go back and see if I can find it.
I mean, you're talking about getting ready to play a pickup game. We have a net in my driveway, at least when it's not covered in snow, and there's no bed. Like, it's just sort of nothing gets stuck in there. Like a net you can buy.
Right. No. A net that you even a regulation size net, like the best net you can buy at Dick's, say. Is not going to have that lower that white. You're calling it a bed. I consider it the mesh, for lack of a better way to put it. But I know that now gets confused with the netting behind the, on the glass that they call the mesh.
What's the point of it? Do you know? Like what's it meant for? This bed.
I think it can serve to help anchor the net
Okay, that would make sense, I think.
Especially because if what you're describing is if what we're talking about is what I think we're talking about, it's on the ice, and it's on the inside of the net, and I think you play your daughter's hockey games, any hockey game you're playing that's not, I think even the NHL, there's not pegs like for youth hockey, so. The net might be more stable because of that on the instead of just having the metal of the net resting on the ice.
Makes sense, I think. Logical.
That's just a guess. I don't really know what else. And it also protect the net that I had that was like this one I mentioned at Dick's, and I haven't seen the one that you have. The netting basically wrapped around the bottom. Like it would be resting on the concrete if you had it on the street, right? And that's going to wear out eventually and tear. And that happened when I was a kid a bunch of times to nets we had. This bed, I think, supports the net and keeps it off of the ice.
Okay, maybe. I don't know.
I think that's maybe.
I love how it looked. I think if I were a hockey player and I scored a goal, it'd be up there to have the puck come to rest on the bed behind the goalie, just sort of sitting there on top of the ice, like that. I would like that. I'm just going to go ahead and leave Peacock open for another 17 days, I think.
Yeah, right.
Rather than closing it all the time and then opening back up for curling and hockey and, of course, the Traders and Traders UK and Traders Australia and Traders New Zealand. I'm going to have multiple Peacock tabs open. The Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Also,
I was I did look in the app yesterday to make sure the Super Bowl would be on Peacock. I was glad to see it there because we're both in a boat where we don't have the NBC stuff on our main streamer.
Terrible.
So I'm glad about that. I was going to turn on it just said live coverage, and there were separate sports highlighted too, but there was one main feed, I guess, that I was going to turn on here and have on my iPad while I'm doing the show, but I'm doing these Redfin commercials every break, so I don't want to have to just keep bailing out of that. So I'm not
Too
watching
cumbersome.
anything, but I was going to today.
Is anything going right now? Well, you don't know. I guess
know.
I'm asking the wrong guy.
Yeah, no, I don't have it. I don't have it open.
I have golf on in here.
Yeah.
Phoenix.
Yeah, I'm missing that.
Well, I loved the game. Team USA is so good. I went to see them play Canada at the arena when they came through, and they crushed Canada. And we'll see. Like, anything can happen. But
yeah, I be careful with that. I remember we talked a little bit about it, and I thought Canada was down some key players for that game or maybe that series of games, but I don't know for sure.
They went and played them again in Cleveland or somewhere and beat them worse.
Yeah.
But maybe, I should look at odds, right? Because that would be there.
Yeah.
That's what I would normally do. Respect the betting market. We will talk to Sal coming up at 5. It was USA over the Czechs 5-1. I hope I'm not spoiling anything. I think we live in a non-spoiler world when it comes to sports, in the Olympics. So, it's 6 hours ahead, right? You might find out about something from us, just to give you a heads up if you were planning on watching it. Am I wrong here? Like these days, if something big happens in the Olympics, we're not going to pretend we don't know.
Yeah. I suppose. Yeah. I'm prepared to have no idea what is live and what's not. Probably.
Okay. That's good for me to know.
You asked, is it on? I've got Peacock and it's USA coverage. Canada, Italy, looks like mixed curling.
Yeah, I know who wins.
Okay.
You could guess.
Canada's up 5-1.
Although Italy is the defending gold medalist.
No.
In that, I think, in the mixed. Anyway, I loved watching the curling this morning, too. I watched the whole game. USA-Norway. Sloan Martin, who worked at BEN, wife of Matthew Collar, is one of 3 play-by-play announcers for the curling events at the Olympics. She's not there. She's in Connecticut. That's what they do with a lot of the lesser sports, if you will. But it's super cool that she gets to do it. She's working with Tyler George, and I thought they were both great today. Sal coming up at 5. Sabres and Penguins pregame at 6. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR. I found a couple of fun little Sabres things
Okay.
over the course of the week.
All right.
So this is fun when this happens, kind of like a cool coincidence. But what was it? The 4th. Yesterday was the 4th. They'd come off the game in Tampa. And we've been talking off and on. I think a lot of people who are old enough to do so have been also sort of the sometimes eerie comparisons to 2006. You know, a team with not high expectations, middling along, and then suddenly had people asking if they were like good. And that was what 2006 was, and that team went very far. The game against Ottawa that we referenced recently that they won in a shootout, which maybe for you or for me or a lot of people was sort of that game where, like, we asked Marty Biron, when did you sort of buy in? And he said the game against Boston after Christmas. There was a game against Ottawa, Vanek in the shootout against Hasek.
Around the world.
Yeah. That was February 4th of 2006, yesterday. So I looked this up yesterday just to see sort of where the Sabres were in the course of their season. And it was that game exactly. This team is 32-18-6. That team after that win was 34-15-3. And that's the Olympics talking a little bit there, because they've played whatever it is, 4 more games this year than then in 2006. So I thought you'd like that.
All right.
Also, I think this was all one of the Sabres, when they put out their game notes, always have a game or two from the same date in Sabres history.
Mm-hmm.
I know today's one of theirs was there was a scoreless tie in Quebec or against Quebec. But on February 2nd of 1975, you're paying close attention by 1975, which is the weirdest part about all of this. The Sabres beat Kansas City 8-1. Who says they can't beat Kansas City? Who says Buffalo can't beat Kansas City? 8-1. And the shots on goal were 58-28. Not a bad showing by Kansas City. 28 shots on goal. 58 shots. Dennis Herron, you'll know him, him, Penguins, Canadians. He was the Kansas City Scouts goalie, and he stayed in for the whole terrible thing. 58 shots on goal against 2 for Korab, your favorite, in the game. 2 goals.
I don't think I have a stub. I saw a Sabres Kansas City game in the odd. I don't know if it's this game. If we could find the box, that might help, because although there were a lot of fights in a lot of games, but this was a fight-filled game.
There were none in this game.
Okay, then it's not the same game.
You sure they just didn't call it? There were lots of fights and they just let it go?
Pretty sure, yeah. There was I remember Jerry Korab, or maybe a guy who had just fought Jerry Korab. I remember an ice pack being thrown from one penalty box to the other, or as someone was skating off the ice, throwing it at the player they had just fought in the. It was mayhem. It was. We had won seats from my South Buffalo Youth Hockey Association, and we sat in the Reds, which were easily the best seats I ever sat in as a kid. We got oranges always, and that was it. So it was a real treat to be so close for me. And I just remember Korab being a focal point because of the fighting. I don't remember 2 goals, and it's definitely not the same game if there's not fights in the box score.
Right. The Kansas City Scouts 2 years later would become the Colorado Rockies, and 5-6 years after that, the New Jersey Devils.
Yep.
February 2nd, 1975, 58 shots on goal. The Sabres will try, not really, to top that number tonight. I mean, they'd love to get to 59 shots against Pittsburgh. Would it be funny if they did? Pre-game for Sabres Penguins downtown starts at 6. We'll get to the Bills next. The latest from Sal Capaccio after the update. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
Folks, Bulldog here this Sunday, Redfield.
Busy day over at One Bills Drive as defensive coordinator Jim Leonard, offensive coordinator Pete Carmichael, and special teams coordinator Jeff Rogers all spoke with media this morning. If you did miss any of that, you can listen back on the Odyssey app or on our website, WGR550.com. Also at the website and the app, Bills President of Football Operations and General Manager Brandon Beane. He joined Jeremy and Joe earlier this morning, and we'll get the latest on what was said across the landscape for the Bills when Sal Capaccio joins the show next. So do stay tuned for that. Good news for the Seahawks today. Head coach Mike McDonald confirmed with the media that while safety Nick Emmanwori did suffer a low ankle sprain yesterday, it should not limit him from playing on Sunday against New England. And while we still have that one game left to play this season, we do have scheduled news for next year as the 49ers are going to face off against the LA Rams in Melbourne for the first game in Australia. The exact time and week when this game will be played will be announced at a later date. Sabres game night tonight. They are hosting Pittsburgh. Pre-game in an hour at 6. Puck drop at 7. Alex Lyon is expected to get the start in net tonight. And with a win, the Sabres would move into second place in the Atlantic. Following tonight, though, the league is going to be off until the 25th due to the Olympics. We do have some Olympic news as well. The women's side of hockey got underway today. The U.S. took down Czechia 5-1. The game between Canada and Finland has been postponed to the 12th due to cases of coronavirus with Team Finland. And then for the men's side of things, Team Canada, they have ruled out Braden Point. Seth Jarvis is going to replace him. That's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Bulldog, first, do we have a bet update?
Oh, dude, we were talking about different things. I've never seen the thing you were talking about.
What do you think it's doing there?
Maybe it's a part of the camera, supporting the camera. I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay.
I've never seen that in a hockey net before.
It's a thick, net-long bed. And this goal, there's a picture that you tweeted.
Yeah.
Is the puck has come to rest right on top of it. I thought that was a great aesthetic. Be a great way to score a goal. It's just like land on the bed.
I'm going to retweet right now another photo that's not from this game that shows what from the outside of the net, like standing in the crease. It shows maybe but I can't tell from this photo what it is. But it's a look at it from a different angle. That I think it's got to be the same thing, but I just have never seen it. So I was talking about the mesh that keeps the net from freezing to the ice, the metal, basically, and that is clearly not what you were talking about. I've never seen this.
No, because you'd want to sleep on a bed of metal or mesh.
Right. I don't know what that is.
Bedgate.
Right.
With us now on the Western Hotline is Sal Capaccio. I met Sal's dog last night, Bulldog.
Oh, all right.
Bernie. Nice of Bernie to be a part of the Zoom call. And Bernie has about as much say in the end of what pick you got as you did, because Sal was the last person whose name came up on the wheel. So he goes, like, I just spent all this time waiting around for this? You're going to tell me when I pick? We have a draft on Saturday.
I missed or was in and out of a large chunk of episode 1 of season 4 of Stranger Things, and I waited all the way that time and missed some stuff because of it. And at the end, just, hey, I mean, I'll take the second pick. It's fine, whatever. I'd be okay with anything. But, we were watching that, doing that, trying to listen in. And Bernie, just the very, very large Great Pyrenees mountain dog, had a good time, I think, as well.
Well punctuated. Yes. So happy to have Bernie part of our league here somewhat. All right, so today at the stadium, 3 coordinators took their respective turns telling everybody what they think of the job before them. What are a couple of the more interesting things you think you might have learned today?
I mean, I thought Jim Leonard was super interesting. I think also just because maybe we were most interested in him of the 3 coordinators, So, it's so funny. How long have us 3 here been talking about positionless players in football?
You
right?
certainly
it goes
have.
back a long time, right?
You certainly have.
No doubt. We have talked about this a lot. I've brought it up many times. You guys have. We've had discussions about this going way back when to when really, I mean, I maybe first started in this role and just how football has evolved. And he really leaned into that today. And I thought that was interesting just to kind of come full circle on this and where we are in football. And, my specific question to him was basically, hey, 3-4, 4-3, it meant a lot different, things back 20 years ago when you started coaching. How about now, though? Like, how do you see that? And he said, yeah, I mean, football has evolved to a point where he compared it to NBA basketball and said positionless players, basically. Everybody can do everything. And he expanded on that. It was super interesting. I wrote about it at WGR550.com. I love the quotes he gave. But specifically what I liked was he said, and I followed up and said, how do you put stress on an offense by doing that? Like, you got all these guys do everything, but then how do you stress an offense? And he said, because if you can use 11 guys all on a down-to-down basis, just the same 11 guys, first down, second down, third down, the offense has no idea what's happening because they can do so many things, and you can be very creative, and they have to really react post-snap because you can change everything from a play-to-play basis. I just thought that was super interesting.
Yeah, I like that basketball got mentioned. That basketball probably was on the front end of the curve of positionless play. I think hockey, I mean, we're seeing this Sabres team right now, this current edition of the Sabres, the defensemen play like forwards all the time on this team. And in football, it's one of the reasons I was so attracted to Nick Emenworry last year in the draft, because I thought he had the best chance to be a guy like that in the NFL that could play safety or slot corner or, I don't know, linebacker.
Yeah. I mean, it is interesting. And another thing he said was, he said he believes he's been at his best as a coach using those guys. Using guys that, the way he put it, don't fit into a box. He said he's had the most success as a coach when he's had guys that don't fit into a box and they can do a lot of different things. That's kind of his strength. It's his specialty. And I love that, to hear that from somebody, right? It's not saying, yeah, I'm scheme this and scheme that and defensive back or whatever. He's a safety. Said, I've been very good at understanding how to use these guys. And I think I really like that from him. So that was super interesting. Attacking from both ends, the front and the back. We always hear about attacking defenses, as you brought up last week, Mike, right? Like this, that's what coordinators say. But, the proof is in the pudding where this guy's been. I mean, he's been with Denver, and they got after the quarterback a lot the last 2 years. He's played and coached. He played, I should say, under Rex Ryan. We know that was a calling card of Rex Ryan. So I do believe that truly is his philosophy, being attack mode all the time, but being able to do it with these guys who, can kind of really move around the ball and the spots. And he said, hey, look, things are going to change. They're going to have some changes in personnel, no doubt. But he also said, you got a lot of pieces here that are already pretty versatile, basically.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to ask you is, like, what did you get an indication, an early one at that? I doubt there would be any specifics at this early juncture, Sal. But, yeah, just how much he feels he has to work with here.
He's, of course, going to give, high marks to the current roster, right? We know that. That's just what coaches do. They come in. We got a lot of good players here. Plus, this has been a very successful roster, no doubt. So I believe, let me go back in he said, I didn't realize this, Bobby Babich was one of his last position coaches in the NFL. Bobby Babich coached Jim Leonard. He said, I have a lot of respect for Coach Babich and what he's built here, and Coach McDermott for what he's built here. He said specifically both those two. And he didn't volunteer any names. Like, I can't wait to see what Michael Hoyt can do in this defense, right? Anything like that. But he was specifically asked, like Cole Bishop, about him. And, hey, you played safety. What do you think about Cole Bishop? He said he was a big fan of Cole Bishop coming out of college, actually. He said he does a lot of the things that plays the game the way I wanted to play the game as a safety, being able to play back, play in the box. He is very versatile like that. He was also asked about Taron Johnson. He's made contact with him. He's already had conversations. We'll see where that goes, though. We don't know what plans the Bills have over the next, couple of weeks or whatever, because they got to make some decisions. There was somebody else he specifically talked about. Christian Benford. And that was another one. Versatile. He can do, he's a guy that he has traveled before. He can play zone. He can play man. So there's definitely, I think, to him, enough pieces here to start to mold the way he wants to play football.
Babich would have been Leonard's coach in Cleveland.
Yes.
The last year of Leonard's career, which is interesting because Leonard is older than Babich by less than a year, but still, there's going to be more of that maybe because Brady is 36.
That's right.
So he might end up with a player older than he is. All right, that's kind of covered what they sort of need on defense, even though, of course, we're at a very, very early stage. I mean, I'm not going to go back through the archives, but yeah, I mean, defensive coaches are always talking about aggressiveness. I wonder if Wade Phillips maybe didn't talk like that. He might have been more just sort of he's so laid back. He might not have been somebody who was trying to impress everybody with how aggressive his defenses were going to be. Greg Williams, quintessentially. He just loved talking about the 46, right, Sal? And just like how aggressive they were always going to be. And that is most guys. So offensively, I mentioned this, I think, already this week, but you two had a conversation last week where you were asked, Sal, what Pete Carmichael will do as an offensive coordinator that isn't calling plays. And he offered more perspective on that today.
Yeah, he did. And as I said last week, and as Joe Brady said to Matt Bove and I on the podcast we do always Game Day in Buffalo, we asked him the same question, but we asked from Brady, what does an offensive coordinator do when you're not calling plays? And he said, be ready to call plays. So kind of be the guy that thinks like me, be ready to take over for me. And in that role, he's got to be in the same, wavelength of him all the time. And Pete Carmichael said the same thing, but he basically said, look, Joe, when Joe is out of the room, I have to convey the same message he is, right? I just think Pete Carmichael came off to me today as a very loyal, good soldier, if you will. You know what I mean? Like a guy that understands he's not there for his ego. He's not there to be the play caller. He's not there to be the head coach. That ship might have sailed for his career many years ago. He's there to support the guy that he's working with and working for and be the best he can be at that job. And that's kind of what he said today. Like what Joe wants, I got to do. Like what his message is, that's got to come from me because he's not going to be in that room all the time. He's not going to be in the quarterback drills all the time, which was really interesting. I did think one other super interesting thing he was asked that he said, we all know by now Aaron Kromer basically ran the run game last year, right? I mean, that's been talked about. We know that. Aaron Kromer did a lot with that. He was asked, hey, will you be a part of that? And he said that's still going to be the offensive line coach. So we see how this is structured for the Bills now, which is Joe Brady runs the offense. He's going to have a big say in how the passing game goes. He's still going to lean on the offensive line coach for the run game piece of that a lot. Now, I'm not saying he's going to call the plays from the run game, but it feels like that similar structure will be in place.
And that's a veteran coach, right? That they hired there. I forget the name now, but that was
Pat Meyer.
Right. Yeah. This is sort of pertinent. I don't think it's from today, but that anyone said today. But I think I read a quote from Brady, sort of addressing this, like, what does Carmichael do? And Brady basically said, like, if I have to be involved in something else, whether that's game management or something with the defense, then he's got to be ready to sort of pick up and follow kind of the thread that we've been developing through the game, try to stay on track, that kind of thing. I've never heard that before, and I just wonder how often that happens with a head coach is a play caller on either side of the ball, where, they're in the middle of something, and it's like something else that takes your attention away comes up, and you've got to, like, defer to an assistant coach.
I agree. I don't know if it's ever actually happened, but it could, right? I mean, it could. Maybe there's a situation where, kind of middling it here, Bulldog, which is, and I think Joe talked a little bit about this with Jeremy and Joe yesterday in a different way, which is he's thinking maybe 2 steps ahead. So maybe there's a 4th down decision coming up that he has to think about, right? I'm just spitballing here and okay, he's going to lean on Pete Carmichael to say, all right, look, we got 2 downs here. What do you think, right? What do you like? Let me think about what I want to do on 4th down. Give me something good here, Pete, on 3rd down to get me to a 4th and short I can make. Maybe that's something he can do as well, right? I don't really know, but you're right. I don't know if I've ever heard of I'm in the middle of a game and I couldn't call plays. So I had to pass it off to the other guy. But certainly that's got to be his role. The other part about it, I did ask Brady, you never know from team to team if he's going to be up top, he's going to be down low. I got the sense that Pete Carmichael will be up in the press box, and that'll be kind of his role to, help Joe Brady from up there to give him a little bit more detail and understanding, because Joe is so used to calling plays from upstairs.
Yeah, right.
Joe's got to do it downstairs now.
That might be I don't know. I mean, he could say. I mean, that seems like that would be an adjustment.
Yes, for sure. And he did. He said, actually, when we talked to him a couple of weeks ago, he said, yeah, you don't get the full scope of where the ball is all the time when you're on the field. That is an adjustment. He's kind of been in both. And he said, for example, like, where is it, left hash or is it, middle left hash, right? Where the ball is. Like, you got to be able to see everything on the field, and from up top, you can do that. So that is an adjustment. And he said it might take a couple extra seconds to make sure you get that right when you're on the field versus when you're up top.
If for any reason you as Miss America cannot fully perform your duties, the runner-up will take over. Carmichael is that in case Brady becomes indisposed or is distracted by something. Do you have any particular sense of his style? Is it fully a reflection of Brady? Carmichael is almost a generation older than Brady. They're both in New Orleans. Interestingly, perhaps, Carmichael becomes the offensive coordinator of the Saints when Doug Marrone leaves for Syracuse. He was in that position, and then Carmichael moved up. But he was there 20 years and then was in Denver with Sean Payton again. I mean, I think of Sean Payton, he's got to be some extension of him, Sal. Like, it's short passes and passes to the running backs. Maybe we should expect more. Can we bet it? Can we draft him? More catches for James Cook in 2026? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, an extension that way maybe of what he did. But look, I mean, today he talked about, I asked him the same question I asked Leonard, which is evolution of offensive football, not defensive. Like, and specifically, I was trying to kind of pin him down to give me a specific answer on, like, I even said, like, what is it about the evolution of offensive football that you think has changed so much? Is it tight ends maybe, running backs catching the ball in the backfield? He went right to mobile quarterbacks. Like he said, when he coached, Drew Brees is pocket, like you're in the pocket. The explosion of mobile quarterbacks, guys who can move, guys who can run, that you have to be able to adapt your offensive style to accommodate that. And obviously he's been able to do that. He's had to do that. I mean, look, I went back and looked. This guy coached under Norv Turner, obviously under Sean Payton. He's had Marty Schottenheimer, I think he was with, right, in San Diego. I mean, so he's been around a lot of different coaches here. So I don't know, Mike. I think, Sean Payton is one that you can, but he's had a lot of different guys that he's learned under and had a lot of different experiences with.
Schottenheimer in Washington in 2001, and maybe he went to San Diego. He did, and Carmichael would have gone with him from Washington to San Diego when Steve Spurrier takes over Washington in 2002. What do you have on Jeff Rogers?
That his name is actually Jeff. It is not Jeffrey on his birth certificate, because I asked him, would you like to be called Jeff or Jeffrey? He said, well, it's not Jeffrey on my birth certificate. So there you go. It's just Jeff.
So what do his friends call him? What is short for Jeff?
Well, he did say his grandma, I think, or his mom or his grandma called him Jeffrey when, she wanted to get his attention. So even though it's not his name, he did say that, which was interesting.
Okay.
He's been a special teams guy his whole life. He's never coached a position. He's really been a special teams coach his whole life. He's been around all of the changes in special teams throughout his career, which is super interesting. He was very upfront about the fact that, look, he just got here. He doesn't even know Joe Brady all that well. They're working through because they might have had a couple connections here or there, but these are not guys that work together. So they're starting their relationship here kind of a little bit from scratch and getting to know what Joe wants, what he wants. He's been in Arizona the last 8 years. The weather in Arizona versus Buffalo, the Dome Stadium, that's something. He said he actually just learned how the new stadium is built with the wind in mind, because he has to know those things when it comes to special teams, obviously. Like, these are really interesting things that these guys learn about when they get here to Buffalo, or, get a different position and different role that you don't think about that they probably have to learn.
Right. Any new thoughts on the Super Bowl matchup, Sal?
I just really hope Seattle wins. I don't know. It's not a new thought. It's an old thought. I just really hope Seattle wins.
Matt Collar and I were talking on his podcast today. He likes, for what it is, a touchdown bet on the Patriots defensive tackle that comes in for the tush push.
Oh.
His name is, it's 5 letters, I think. Anybody know it? The big guy who comes in for New England, I already forgot it. Tonga? His name is Tonga.
Yes.
And probably a pretty good price on that. But I could see Mike Vrabel being someone himself that scored a touchdown as a linebacker in a Super Bowl, or 2 even maybe, calling some weird number on a goal-to-go play.
Well, you remember, Mike Ditka, one of his biggest regrets, he said, in life was not giving the ball to Walter Payton, and he gave the ball to Fridge instead, right? And I get it, because Walter was Walter, but it happened, right? And that was, back in '85, and that was the big thing back then. And Fridge came on, but I wouldn't be surprised if something like that happened. I mean, Vrabel, he caught a touchdown pass, you remember, in a spot somewhere. I remember in a big game, maybe. They brought him in and put him in.
I think he scored 6 touchdowns in his career.
Oh wow, okay,
Maybe.
more than that. There you go. Yeah.
Super Bowl 20, Bulldog, the Broccoli Soup Bowl, Bears Patriots.
Oh, sure, that's it. That's wow.
Yep.
Before I go, a couple of notes here, though. I just want to make sure. Joe Brady confirmed today that he is retaining a few coaches. Kelly Skipper at running back, Rob Boris, tight end. Now, these are their positions last year. I'm assuming they'll be the same, or it could be different for some of these people. Austin Gunn, assistant O-line. DJ Mangus, assistant wide receiver. Kyle Shermer, offensive quality control. Amelia Wilson, offensive assistant. And Mark Lubick, pass game coordinator. All retained on staff. To be determined. We don't know their exact roles, but those were the roles they had last year.
Mike Vrabel scored 12 touchdowns receiving in his career, 10 in the regular season, including 2 for Kansas City. You would have stumped me on that. And then two playoff touchdowns for New England, maybe in the Super Bowl. I don't have the game log, but 03-04. He knows his way. He should call his own number.
Just go out there.
Just go out there.
Go out there and do it, I know.
Probably can't do that.
You guys going to the game tonight?
Bulldog is.
All right, I'll be there. Max and I are going. It's going to be
first game of
should
the
be
year.
rocking.
I haven't been to a hockey game yet this year. So.
Oh, really? All right. Well, shoot me a text. Maybe we can hook up. Mike Ramsey dropping the puck. I just have to say, I don't know if you guys know this. He is my all-time favorite Buffalo Sabre. I grew up loving Mike Ramsey. Maybe it started because he came to Cleveland Hill Elementary School his second year in the league maybe, and I was a little kid. I don't know. And I just loved him. I believe, and I've said this many times, and Paul agrees, and I don't know if you guys do, and I'm not big into this kind of thing, but I just believe Mike Ramsey should have – number 5 should be hanging. I think he meant that much to this organization. And winning gold in 1980, just I think what he means to people and the fan base. So last night he did a signing over David Adams. I went over there. I told him that, and I said, look, I'm the guy that says this all the time about you on the radio. He was gracious. It was great. We're in the media, right? And these things are kind of a little bit, people view him a certain way. But, man, it was just so cool to hang out and talk with Mike Ramsey last night, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I mean, always a class act.
Yeah.
The quintessential underrated type of player.
Yeah.
I just have to say Housley is the best defenseman in Sabres history. He's in the Hall of Fame, but you don't really get credit for playing defense when you play like Phil Housley.
You think he's a better stay-at-home defenseman than Mike Ramsey?
Never, ever would I put it that way. No.
That's what I said.
One was
I said
better.
best stay-at-home defenseman, Mike Ramsey.
Okay. Paul says best defenseman, and I can't because...
Okay, I get it. Maybe he means that, but you're right. I get it. Housley was... Hey, was there a time... I could be wrong. Didn't Mike Ramsey also maybe briefly play left wing for a year or half a year or something?
Ooh,
I don't remember that.
I don't remember that. Housley played some forward.
I know
Housley played center.
Yeah.
As a 19-year-old, I think even.
I don't remember Ramsey. I wouldn't talk to it. I mean, it's possible in a pinch or something that they put him in a forechecking role or something. I don't know.
Ramsey also was on Lindy's bench, too.
Yeah.
In the first Lindy era. For some of it.
He doesn't coach anymore. He still lives in Minnesota, he told me. I said, what do you like to do now? You're not coaching. He said, hunting and ice fishing, chasing my grandkids around. I'm like, it sounds like a good life there, pal. It's great.
Yeah.
And he played with Lindy, obviously, and they were both, captains of the organization, and a lot of crossover there. And Lindy was one, though. Lindy did play, didn't he? Lindy crossover offense, defense at one point? There you go. Maybe that's what it was I was thinking about with Lindy.
Ramsey has always just come off so beautifully. So this gentle, rock of a player. And it was great to see him on the new Netflix Miracle on Ice documentary. He's a part of that.
That's awesome because he doesn't do a lot of that.
No, he was. I was looking for him. I sat down to watch it, hoping to see him.
Yeah.
And he was also Bulldog. Remember this? There was an HBO Miracle documentary before the movie, and they had an event at the arena, and Ramsey was at that. That's where I met him. Was whenever that was, I was with Adelphia at the time, so 25 years ago. And Ramsey and Jim Craig, I remember sitting and had Jim Craig in studio for that to promote that. They had a showing of the movie at the arena on the scoreboard. I think it might have been. And Ramsey was at that. So if you remember that.
Very cool.
All right. Thank you, Sal. Maybe we'll talk tomorrow. We'll see.
All right. Thanks, guys.
That's our Sal Capaccio on the Western Hotline. His appearances are brought to you by New York's only outlet, Liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet?
Tomorrow, Sam Panayotovich, Aaron Schatz from Radio Row, and maybe Trista Crick if we can fit her in. That'll be, of course, starting at 3. Sam in his usual spot at 3:30 that for whatever reason I constantly forget is his time. So when I booked Trista, I mistakenly had forgotten that, and now we're scrambling. Anyway, that's tomorrow. Sabres and Penguins downtown, pregame at 6. Lines are open for your calls, 803-0550. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
Over at One Bills Drive, defensive coordinator Jim Leonard, offensive coordinator Pete Carmichael, and special teams coordinator Jeff Rogers all spoke with media earlier this morning. If you missed any of that, you can listen back on the Odyssey app or on our website, WGR550.com. Our own Sal Capaccio also has pieces up at our website for more on what the coordinators had to say, and also from Bills president of football operations and general manager Brandon Beane as he joined Jeremy and Joe earlier today as well. Good news for the Seahawks. Head coach Mike McDonald confirmed with the media today that while safety Nick Emenwari had suffered a low ankle sprain yesterday, it should not limit him playing on Sunday when they take on New England. Over to the Sabres. It is game night tonight. They are home against Pittsburgh. Pre-game in about a half hour at 6. Puck drop at 7. Alex Line is expected to get the start in net. And with a win tonight, the Sabres would move into second place in the Atlantic. This is the last game for a little while here. So following tonight, the league is going to be off until the 25th due to the Olympics. Speaking of that, we've already got some Olympic news as women's hockey just got underway today. The U.S. took down Czechia 5-1. And then the game between Canada and Finland, that has been postponed to the 12th due to cases of norovirus within Team Finland. And then over to the men's side of things, Team Canada, they have ruled out Braden Point. Seth Jarvis is going to replace him. Back to the NHL, 6 other games tonight. Some notable matchups to keep an eye on include 2 games also at 7, Carolina at the Rangers, and the Flyers, they host Ottawa. At 7:30, the Lightning host the Panthers. Then at 10, the Kings, they are in Las Vegas versus the Golden Knights. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Contest time. Caller 5 at 716-221-4WGR. That's 4947. Wins 2 tickets to see Tim McGraw with special guest 49 Winchester at Darien Lake Amphitheater Saturday, August 1st. All courtesy of Live Nation. Tickets go on sale tomorrow at 10 a.m. at Ticketmaster.com. Haley Skamura, 2 goals for the victorious women's hockey team, Team USA, today. Went to Nichols.
Yepper.
Dad was a pro player, was he not? Peter Skamura, Washington in the NHL.
That rings a bell. Yeah.
Also played at Nichols. My daughter goes there. I was in there a couple of weeks ago, and so did Bulldog's son, by the way. And they've got like their legendary alums pictures and bios on the walls. And there's Nick Bakay. 1970.
Yeah, that picture you sent me.
It's great.
Mind-boggling.
Isn't he in a band in the picture?
That's what it looks like. He's got a microphone and he's singing. Yeah.
Awesome.
Super long hair and wow.
You know him better than I do, but, we've communicated, he and I, just separately through the years from time to time, and I sent him that picture as well as sending it to you, and he did not respond to me. I want to think that he knows it's there.
Yeah.
He knows, hopefully, that there is like a homage to him in the halls at Nichols. But I don't know if he was displeased or just didn't notice the text or so. I don't know. I didn't get a reaction from Nick.
Oh, wow. No, I don't know.
I'll move on.
Don't know. Did you explain yourself? Or
I did not at all.
The picture?
I thought it would be one where he would just know about it.
Oh.
And give me some sort of yup or something like that, but he did not respond at all.
Okay.
Maybe he doesn't know. Maybe he doesn't know what it was.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe he doesn't know my number.
Maybe he doesn't recognize himself in the photo.
Maybe. It's that other Nick Bakay who was on Sabrina and all the other things Nick has done in his career, which are all laid out in that little, bio about him there. The Super Bowl, of course, Bulldog and I both remember very, very well the Bills' losses in this game. And we've said through the years, especially when we would go there for the week and just see all the images of past champions and almost no references to the losers anywhere.
You don't exist there. Really.
You had to win one. And that always sort of comes back to the surface, my feelings this week. And something Sal said, it wasn't Sal. We were talking to Sal and I was looking at an NBC press release, all the things that they are promoting for Super Bowl Sunday. I mean, reality show stars. You're going to love all of it. Tom Colicchio on a boat. Just everybody. Everything is covered here. And the sideline reporters, Melissa Stark and Kaylee Hartung, and I was thinking about the Bills' third Super Bowl appearance in Pasadena at the Rose Bowl. And they had lost the previous two. But, you know, Dallas is a wild card. Dallas is young.
Yep.
Maybe this is going to be – nobody loses 3 in a row, right?
Nobody loses 3 in a row, he said, and then said the same thing the following year.
Do you remember this? I think I remember it well enough to not even have looked it up, but that's my excuse always. Will McDonough. He was one of the on-site reporters. I'm not sure he was on the sideline, maybe. I think OJ was maybe too. But Will McDonough reporting as maybe the Bills were leaving the field from warm-ups. Something like, I've never seen a team this tight.
Oh, wow.
McDonough said he reported something like that from the field. They just look so nervous.
Yeah.
And man, I mean, that's a pretty good read, maybe.
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't remember that. The last 3, I watched the first one in its entirety, and I can't tell you what the pregame show was like, but I'll bet I watched it. Following the 90 season Super Bowl 25. The other 3, I was always at work. And for this one, the Pasadena one, I got out in time to get to a friend's house for kickoff, but I was not consuming any of the stuff beforehand. I was
intentionally?
I was slinging pizzas. I was working, and I all right, Chris, you can go. Like, whoa! Like 5:30 or something. Like, okay, I'm free, right? Or even 6 o'clock, whatever time. I might have missed kickoff. I might have heard the kickoff on the radio and then got to where I was going to watch the game.
I could see wanting to watch that game through your fingers, though. Just like, not sure I want to do this. Yeah. The fourth one, maybe especially, quintessentially, that would be one where same opponent, you know what happened the year before.
Oh.
Of course, the Bills.
Yeah.
The Bills beat Dallas that season.
Yes.
In '93 without Emmitt Smith, but
Yep. Yeah, didn't Matt Darby have an interception maybe in the end zone? I remember Matt Darby doing something in that regular season meeting with Dallas.
At the goal line at the end to clinch the game, right? Final seconds of the game.
Yeah.
Yep.
That fourth one, I again, the work thing, right? I've told this story before. The guy that owns a pretty well-known pizzeria in town now was working for me then at Santora's, and he was a delivery driver. This is Super Bowl 28 now.
Yep.
Someone didn't show up, and I needed a. I mean, it's one of the, if not the. I mean, the Bills are in the Super Bowl, right? I mean, it's just mayhem, right? It's just busy as all get out, and I'm down a driver. And I go to this guy, and I'm like, dude, I need you to stay through halftime, because somebody is not showing up. And he's like, I can't. And I'm like, what do you mean you can't? You're here. I mean, come on. I need you to. He's like, no, I quit. And he just walked out. and I wasn't even mad. I just stood there like, I maybe was mad for a second, but I actually was like, hat tip to you. Happy trails. Like, you want to go watch the Bills play the Super Bowl, and you're quitting your job over it, and I respect you. And I'm still, friendly with this guy. We used to cross paths now and then in hockey rinks when Owen was still playing. And I just have always, it brings a smile to my face. But I ended up taking that spot. I stopped working inside the restaurant that night and started delivering. I delivered, I don't know, through the first half, a half a dozen or more orders, and then at halftime, I was free to go, and I went to a friend. The Bills are winning. I'm like, all right, this is it. We're gonna do it.
You should have stayed at work.
I probably should have stayed at work. All these years later, it's my fault. I should have just stayed at work.
It's not that guy's fault because they were up at halftime.
That's right.
And he had left before the game.
That's right.
Can't blame him.
Right. Oh.
Do you think the following is a sucker bet? because it feels like one, but I still made it. I went over 10.5 rushing yards on George Holani of Seattle. Basically, now he's their number 2 running back.
He's the second running back.
Yeah. Is that kind of like too easy? Is that would that be in the room? We should ask Sam tomorrow. I don't know.
Maybe, but.
Can I have one good play?
I mean, he's going to get 3 or 4 carries probably.
Right? Yeah, I think so.
What do you think? I mean, you're not just going to ride Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker may just say, "I'm tired," and come out.
Sure. What if they blow him out? I mean, if they blow him out, this guy's going off. He's Kenneth Davis.
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
3 for 4 against the Rams.
I might answer no. It's not a sucker bet, but that might just mean I'm a sucker.
He has gone over 9 rushing yards in a game twice this year.
I feel darned if I do, darned if I don't. Either way here, like I think I would bet it.
Okay, but no Charbonnet. So, he missed the Ram game too, and this guy went 3 for 4, 3 for 27 passing. Shaheed is interesting. Sam and Joe on Chicken Dinner were talking up Shaheed for MVP.
No,
like up to 50 to 1-ish, 40 to 1.
A big return.
Yep.
Yeah.
A bomb.
Right.
Big. He had a big catch against L.A.
Yep.
Early in that game from Darnold. So I can't see him getting the volume for MVP. He needs to have a Desmond Howard game where he scores in special teams.
That's why I said, like, give me a 65-yard punt return and then one other, three for 110 because one of them is a 70-yard bomb. Yep. And then maybe you got to look at it.
And no one else does anything that tremendous. Sabres and Penguins pregame coming up in 15 minutes. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. This is WGR. Just making a note here. What to name my next fantasy team? I've decided on age of majority. But we will give you updates on that throughout the offseason. I was looking at that. So Desmond Howard won the MVP of Super Bowl 31. And how did he do it? This will be interesting for Sam if we want tomorrow, because Sam's in on Shaheed at a big price. But there's an offensive element, an offensive component with Rashid Shaheed, you would think, if he were going to actually win, but not necessarily. It depends on who else arrives as a candidate. I have the box from that game, New England, Green Bay. It would have been an interesting vote, I bet.
How good a candidate might Reggie White have been?
Probably very good. I mean, it's 4 turnovers by New England. Isn't it 3 sacks? It's 3 sacks.
Yeah.
He would have gotten votes, I bet. Desmond Howard did not make a single play on offense in that game. He had a kick return touchdown to cap the scoring late third quarter to put him up 14, and then he had a few good punt returns. But he wasn't involved in the offense at all. And I remember about that game that the spread was 14 and they won by 14, and how annoying that was. That the entire fourth quarter was played where it was right on the line, which would have been terrible for the books because there's nobody loses.
Right.
If everybody's betting at the same 14-point spread, and that's how it ended. But Green Bay, Antonio Freeman, 3 for 105, 3 catches, as many as any Packer had in the game. Nobody ran the ball. Nobody from New England was going to win the award. Bledsoe 4 picks, sacked 5 times. Favre sacked 5 times. I guess he sort of backed into it, and that's how a long shot can win.
Right. Yep. Yeah, that's your script for someone down the odds board to pull it off.
It'd be Marvin Jones for New England to be this, I think.
Yeah.
Is that the name?
White had
Martin
3
Jones?
sacks, you said?
3 sacks.
Man, if only he managed to produce a fumble there, maybe he would have. And he's such a, even then he was like a sentimental favorite because he chose Green Bay and all the, I'm mildly surprised that 3 sacks didn't get him the MVP.
Marcus Jones is who I wanted for the Patriots.
Right.
Return man, and led the league in punt return touchdowns this year. He had 2, and he also had a good season, it looks like, on defense too. 3 picks. He might have had one against Stroud in the playoff game.
Yeah, you mentioned that yesterday or the day before, and I thought it was 2 different Joneses, but it's the same guy. That's value. If you're getting high-level corner play from a guy that is the best punt returner in the sport, that's a roster spot.
Yeah. Well, he seems like a playmaker. Maybe he's worth a few pennies.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's the kind of game. It's going to be the kind of game where it gets a little gritty, unless Seattle is just way too good. And I think they might be.
I kind of do too.
I would give the 4.5. If they're way too good, then whatever. But if it's like a hard game, I'd like the under. I'd still like the Seahawks. And then for MVP, I don't know, you could even go as far as kickers maybe. Somebody makes a 60-yarder and kicks 5 field goals. I don't know. I'm kind of prepared for some out there outcome.
I like where we are on our bet. I mean, provided the guy, is healthy enough to play. I like the price on Emin Worry, and it's not nutty to me. He's a buzzy player right now. He's getting a lot of credit for what he has meant to that defense, even though he's just in his first year. And I just think it's possible he makes a couple of splash plays, and if it's the right kind of game like we're talking about, maybe we get paid.
And we can say he did on a bad ankle.
Right.
Now, even better. Right. All right, go have fun.
Thank you, I will.
Paul joins me next to set up the Sabres game against Pittsburgh. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.